heard from Sarah. I guess she's not going to make it.
Yeah. That's the Landa Kane is messing with her Wi-Fi. So
Mm.
yeah. So it's okay. Might as well start. So
Yeah, let's do it.
yeah. Okay. So how are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well, I suppose. How are you?
You suppose you sound less than enthusiastic. It's like, oh,
Right, I should sound better. Actually,
what's up? No, seriously.
well, no. I mean, I guess I just say that, but I actually didn't have too bad of a week. I mean,
That's good.
I've had some acupuncture appointments that have really kind of helped my neck, so
Oh, good.
that's a positive because it's something that I just quietly live with, and it's nice to see that. Wow, maybe this can go away.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad it's working for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Seriously.
but I say, oh, because I don't know, the weather, the sky, the stupidity, just
It's just kind of crashing in on you. Hey,
it does. It comes
it's
to
like
this, crazy balance of, I don't know how I feel.
that's okay.
How about you? How was your week?
I'm feeling better. My voice is feeling better.
You
I'm not.
sound better.
Yeah. I've been taking apple cider vinegar with honey.
Mhm,
So every night, so one tablespoon
mhm.
in 16 ounces um, of purified water. So
Right. Well, right. And
yeah,
that's kind of all you've been doing because you sound really good.
yeah, and I've been taking it easy, so
Hmm.
I'm covering myself up more.
Yeah, you got the cold, right?
Yeah, I had the cold slash whatever it was.
I mean, the weather too. I mean, weather cold, right?
Oh yeah. It's been really chilly the last couple days. So
Yeah, it's funny here. I kind of made this observation. I'm noticing lately this entire winter that the air pump at like we have a Wawa here. I don't know, whatever you might call the convenience store there. It's
oh,
just
like Speedway or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah.
we have Speedways here.
It's a free air pump. You know what I mean? People once in a
Yeah.
while need air. Well, you
Yep.
can't go there every single day because the temperature goes from 60 to 20 on all these various days from all the geoengineering, and
Yep.
it's all lined up with people getting air in their tires. And at first, when I noticed it, I'm like, when did everyone become geniuses to walk out and go, I need air in that back tire? Like in this, huge amount of people where there's lines and it clicked, that there's computers in the car telling them, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Air low. And people can't just
Mm-hmm.
ignore it and realize, oh, it's because the weather, tomorrow it's going to be cold, air between cold and heat, expands, it contracts. It's okay for a little bit. It's just lines of people getting air in their tires every day, every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made me think, wow, people when they get that little flash from that talking fake ass computer, they don't even think anymore. They just do.
Well, you are correct, but I do fall into that category because I do lift.
Hmm.
I take people
Well,
on lift, and
you
I don't
drive
want, and
for a
I
living,
yeah, and I don't
right?
want to, and I don't want to like say like, oh, like I didn't pay attention to it long enough. It's like,
Of
oh,
course.
sorry,
Yeah, no,
you
and
know,
tractor trailers, people that drive far for a living that commute. I don't. This is
like just
just
like anybody,
everyday
just like,
people, right? That you can
huh?
tell just not would normally be checking their tires. You know what I mean? I mean, I drove for a living all over the states, you know what I mean, with kids that I work with, and I would check my
Yeah,
tires, you know what I mean, just like you said, but
yeah.
it's an enormous amount of people, and it's funny to watch because like I said, it's 60, like you don't have the crazy variations of hot and cold going on over there, right? You guys are just cold, right?
Yeah, we're cold. Well, sometimes it does. Like, I mean, we don't go from like 60 to 20. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
well, we're not supposed to either.
we go like from like maybe third, like at the most like 30 down.
Yeah, normal,
But like maybe 20 degrees,
Hmm.
give or take 20, 30 at the most, but not like 40.
Yeah, it doesn't jump up to some, and when it's being done, there's the fingerprint patterns and the spray and everything else going on in the sky, and then it
Hmm.
rains here for days, and it's definitely being manipulated. And like I said, I think I said last week, there's an article saying we haven't had a winter in 4 years, and they've done this every year. Spray the snow that would come turns into misty rain for 3 days, and it's 60 degrees, and then when we do get the beautiful blue sky, it's freezing. You know what I mean? It's like 22 degrees because
Hmm.
that's the normal weather. It's crazy to watch the you know scale that they mess with this weather. Um,
Yeah.
it's my number one thing that I hate because it's right in front of everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they can't. I mean, well, ideally they couldn't help but see it. I mean, like,
hmm
and they spray up here too. I mean, I don't look at the sky every single day, but I just, you know what I mean. But I do notice it enough.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like I don't purposely like because I have to keep my eyes on the road. You know what I
right,
mean?
right. But when you
So,
see it, you notice it
but when I
as
do,
abnormal.
yeah, yes, yes,
I have someone, I don't know, just trying to explain to me, and it's a someone that claims to kind of be awake. I've just kind of met them, and I don't want to say, but I mean, really, it doesn't matter. It's the guy at the acupuncture place, and the hell with it. He's never
okay,
gonna hear this, and if he does, it doesn't matter. And
okay,
he just will not grasp chemtrails, and he's
hmm.
geoengineering and stuff, and he's trying to explain contrast to me and certain atmospheric conditions. And I'm like, dude, come on, dude. Because when I saw him in between, he said to me, I did go out Tuesday and I noticed an inordinate amount of skies, or inordinate amount of sky lines in the sky.
Yeah,
And he says, then he started to kind of explain, certain atmospheric conditions and all these things and the weather down here. And like I'm just somebody who worked midnights watching stars, the sunrises, the storms. I just something I've always noticed, and
yeah.
you know, I
No, I
I don't know,
follow.
man.
I
I don't
follow.
know. I guess it's so in your face. People don't want to notice it.
Hmm.
Um, and it's okay. Maybe they're not there yet. That's because he's awake on many other aspects. Um, and people's time, I guess, kind of goes. But for me, it was one of the first things. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's scary times, I guess. The
Well, that too. I mean,
and you just
everything's up
want
in the air.
yeah,
Uh,
and you just want people to see it.
Mhm.
Now.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, for me when I first was waking up to stuff, chemtrails that wasn't the first thing. Like for me, is like just the power structures in general.
hmm
Like CFR, trilateral, the trilateral commission, things like that. Just
hmm
no, groups more than the particular actions. Well, in a
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
but but obviously, like as time goes on, it's like chemtrails more. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, but you're right. There's so many moving parts that I guess I couldn't
mhm.
even really pinpoint what started it because I never believed in the structure to begin with, and I don't want to say I just didn't believe in people that were in these positions. I've seen them just in the political aspect just be total shitheads. You know what I mean? And you know
Yes, I get it. You're right.
on a local level, and then just conniving. You know what I mean? And but I personalized it. I never really applied it to the entirety of the system until I woke up more and more. So I guess it's
Hmm.
just tons of puzzle pieces that once people really do want the truth, that piece fits. Until then, they're like, I can't find a fucking place for this piece. We'll put it
Yeah,
over here. We'll
I'll
put it
just
over
throw it
here.
away. Yeah,
Yeah, let's
I'll
put it
just like
over
put it
here.
in the. I'll just put it in this other room here or something.
Yeah, but it is. It's just even on an aspect like you said of seeing. You know, I don't know. Okay, there's this institution, that institution, and people will be a certain place and a certain level on a certain thing politically, and can't still see this continue from presidency to presidency.
My
And then,
internet connection is unstable again.
wow, like I said, does that ever happen when you're doing
Well,
anything else?
when I download stuff, like sometimes if I'm downloading maybe a bit too much, or if they don't like what I'm downloading, they do they like turn off my internet.
hmm Yeah.
And my VPN says I'm behind a Wi-Fi hotspot, even though I have no hotspot.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I think too, maybe they're weakening signals a bit so that people think they need this new 5G, and
mm,
Wi-Fi boosters in every room, and I've noticed that lately is the big thing. They're selling
yeah,
Wi-Fi boosters.
Oh yeah,
to plug into
yeah.
the walls or something.
Yeah, actually, they have like wallpaper or like wallpaper or like something to add to the walls to like amplify your Wi-Fi signal.
You know.
It's a fairly new story. Well, new as in like within this past month.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know new anymore. We forget
Yeah,
things from month to month. Everything's just thrown out there.
yeah, exactly.
It's just a circus. All of it anymore. And
Y- Yeah, it is. It is. I just I just like I've been so busy like, just making sure my own house is in order that I
yeah,
don't like. I mean, I tweet stuff. I don't like go out to like activist post all the time and like tweet every single. You know what I mean?
yeah. No,
Like
I
I
do.
used to.
Yeah, no, you. I didn't even sign back up, Lisa. I understand. It's just we did it for a long time, and it's just like, does anybody even see it? You know?
I know a lot. I know people do see my stuff
Oh,
still. I
good.
mean,
They do.
I do.
Good.
Yeah, I do. I do tweet out the slides from Mark stuff.
Oh, good.
Like today. Well, yesterday I started with demystifying Nicole part two. So yeah,
Yeah, they're
and people do retweet that. So
good. Good. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not going to get back on because I do look at it. It's just I think it's the intake of everything because I'm sure it's just
mhm.
nothing but coronavirus and even the whole YouTube everything's coronavirus. Either there's a billion trillion dead or it's completely fake. Like it's most likely in the middle. you know.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Well, to be honest, like the ones like I go to like Leak Project and
yeah.
he doesn't do that one all the time. I do a plain truth for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
He does a little bit more Corona, but he doesn't do it all the time.
Right, and I'm sure
Never
it's
lose
more
truth. Never
accurate.
lose truth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Carol.
which Carol. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She does, but she does weather warfare too, and obviously, uh, Mike Morales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I like Ryan too from The Last American Vagabond. He's
oh
very,
yeah, I do too. Yeah,
you know,
I've been.
and actually, all the people you've kind of named are the ones that are in the middle, saying, "Hey, crazy people, relax. This is kind of because it is more of a psychological thing, that they're
Mhm.
doing, and not saying that there isn't some, uh, bioweapon or contained experiment going on, or an excuse, or who knows, But the bottom line is, it's meant to scare people and to get people to you know, want to point the finger and go, oh, that guy's not wearing a mask. Like I kind of saw Max Egan was showing some footage. Now, again, you don't know if it's propaganda. It didn't look like it.
Oh,
Of cops just beating the hell out of each other or out of people over there for not wearing a mask or, taking people out of their houses and just
oh, in
dragging them out of
China.
cars. Yeah, China. And, if that really is going on, it just shows you that, how
Well,
is
no.
everyone? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when no one speaks out and like
Hmm.
when because that's like the end. I mean, that's like the end game because like okay, like the Cultural Revolution that happened in like the 60s,
Hmm.
early 70s, if I'm correct. It's been a while since I've studied Chinese history. I think I studied it in college, but
Hmm.
so and that's where they purge and censor their academics in general. So that's sort of, I guess, sort of kind of where we're at now, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no,
With the whole timeline. I mean, because I
you're
think
right.
about that.
They're definitely way ahead of us in the agenda. So you're right. And it's just I don't know. Like you said, when we see it, we studied this, we this. I mean, and you see it playing out. You know,
Hmm.
all around, and really, that's kind of the distraction from all the 5G and the fact that people can't understand the behavioral laws that are all around them and that all their beliefs are what contributes to this. Like
Hmm.
it seems way bigger than just hey, there's an awakening going on because this movement just I don't know, it's it's constantly being shattered into more and more pieces, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like Sarah has said, it's so key that we stay in the center. Like like we know what's going on, but it's like, I mean, I share stuff, and I mean other people share stuff too, but like I'm not saying like, oh my god, FEMA camps, or oh my, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's serious stuff. It's like,
Right. But information. You're not fear mongering, and you're not. You're putting out
mhm.
information.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, like we're doing this every week, and like I'm reading about Sophia, and about
Yeah. Yeah.
about seriously, everyone should read this book. I mean, it's not the be all end all, but it's so mind boggling in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in his image, so
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that's what you were talking about. And people again, they're like you're saying, read that, look into a different tradition that you don't understand, or and learn about it. Do something to learn while you're, like you're saying, putting information in the world, and living that way and treating people the proper way. And if more people just did that instead of
uh,
I don't know, the bantering back and forth over politics, and
mhm.
even in the truth movement, various aspects of what's real and what isn't, and all the details, and this channel's a shill, and don't watch this guy, and it's just all this nonsense.
I just looked up Nana's image. It's not on Audible, so that does suck. But
Oh, it's not.
no, it's on Kindle
Okay.
for just $14, which isn't bad, all things considered.
No, not at all. It's now. I think it's on the Arc. I think that's where I saw it. Is that where you're reading it from, or did you buy it? The book.
Yeah, I just it's
You have
just
the hard
so.
copy.
No, I have the paperback.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like,
Well, that's what I meant. You have a physical copy, not a PDF.
I think I have this Kindle as well.
Okay.
So I
Gotcha.
mean, like just today, like I was reading about, gosh, like the I mean, like I could read from this book for like to you for like hours. I really could.
Hmm.
Like,
Sorry,
no, you're
I had
cool.
to
You're
cough.
cool.
Sorry, I tried. I was holding it in. I was
Oh
trying not to.
my, it's okay. Oh my gosh. It's
No, it's
yeah.
true. It is. It's amazing. A lot of the you know truth community in and of itself doesn't realize how along the lines of things they say that are in that book.
Hmm.
you know, when it comes to the quote unquote matrix, you know what I mean? It is. It's true. And how this is.
With I go with what's the oh. Huh. Sorry, I was just looking at a page about Cyril of Alexandria, so it's like a.
Did you bring it up? Do you have it brought up?
I haven't read the thing yet, but um well, I'll just read it. I mean,
Yeah. Go
it's
ahead.
okay. You
Right.
haven't even
That's why I
got
was kind of
this.
saying, do you have it brought up? Because
Yeah,
might as well.
I haven't read this part yet, but the section is called the Dendera Zodiac, Dendera. Um, okay, on the west bank of the Nile, just a stone's throw from the Nag Hammadi in Dendera, the site of a magnificent Ptolemaic temple dedicated to Hathor, the Egyptian Eve. A bas relief on the roof of a small chapel there preserves the single intact zodiac, surviving from antiquity. Axes in the infrastructure of the model show that its designers understood the entire 26,000 year cycle of zodiacal precession. The proximity of this astronomical treasure to the caves of Nag Hammadi has been overlooked by scholars, yet it is more than likely that the Egyptian codices originated from the official library of the Dendera temple, or what was left of it. Just across the river from Dendera are the ruins of an early Coptic monastery, Tabenisi, uh, Tabennisi. At the time, the codices were hidden in the cave around 345 Common Era. The founder of the monastery, Cenobitic monk Pachomius, had just died. and it's Cenobitic, and I have to look that up because I have no idea what that word means. Cenobitic.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
Well, that
Yeah.
pops up. Okay, so that monk died. It's coming up here. Okay, it's a member. Okay, it's a Cenobitic monasticism is a monastic tradition that stresses community life.
Okay.
So, as opposed to an older style of monasticism to live as a hermit is called eremitic, Eremitic. So there you go.
There
So
you go.
basically, it stresses community.
Right.
So, okay, there you go. Now I know.
Right. This is right. This is, you know,
Cenobit. Cenobit. Okay, Cenobit. Okay, I was just making sure I'm pronouncing it right. All these
does it
words.
give a syntax or a way to read it?
Yeah, Cenobit. Cenobite. Yeah,
See, a lot
I
of
might be
times
butchering it.
when I'm reading, right, I butcher it anyway because I'm like, it's only in my own head, but I really should start to sound them out. You know what I mean? More. There's so many words that I mispronounce just because in my head I mispronounced it when I was reading it, and that just became the way I heard the word. So
Yeah.
what you just did was good.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to look up the meaning too, but like you said, to look up the proper pronunciation of it, and that's how when if people would take the time to do more things like that, they wouldn't skip over the research as quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
they would. They would. They would take their time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
internalize it a little more, and understand it better.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot with this book.
Yeah, those books kind of you have to, you know what I mean? 'Cause
That's true. Okay. Okay. I'm going to keep on going.
Sure.
Okay. So basically, that's Cenobitic monk, Cenobitic monk, Pachomius, Pachomius, had just died. So that's around 345 AD. A generation later, the monastery came under the control of Shenute of Athribis. Okay, Shenoute of Athribis, 348 to 466. The leading figure in the Coptic Christian Church and a close ally of Cyril of Alexandria, the man who probably orchestrated the murder of Hypatia. To his dismay, Shenute, I'm just going to pronounce it Shenute, discovered that a small remnant of persecuted Gnostics had taken refuge in the temple of Hathor. He wrote to Cyril that the heretics possessed, quote, books full of abominations, end quote, that must surely be destroyed. Shenote commanded the Gnostics to renounce their perverted beliefs and accept Cyril as their spiritual master. When the heretics resisted, Shenote warned them in no uncertain terms. Quote, I shall make you acknowledge the Archbishop Cyril, or else the sword will wipe out most of you, and moreover, those of you who are spared will go into exile. End quote. If anyone wonders what happened to the thousands of teachers and students of mystery schools of antiquity, here is the answer in one line. Cyril answered, a good many.
You dropped off there.
Of course, it's my internet connection is unstable. Okay,
Yeah.
where did it cut off, hon?
Right when you were about to explain what happens to the mystery tradition, those that it cut you off when you were about to. You said those that.
If anyone wonders.
Yes, that was it.
Okay. If anyone wonders what happened to the thousands of teachers and students of the mystery schools of antiquity, here is the answer in one line. Cyril replied with a clear endorsement of the genocidal imperative, stressing how it demonstrates the efficacy of the one true faith. A good many of those who formerly practiced magic collected their books and burnt them publicly, and when the total value was reckoned up, it came to 50,000 pieces of silver. In such ways, the word of the Lord showed its power, spreading more and more widely and efficient and effectively. And I think what Cyril might be referencing there's a part in Acts, in the book of Acts where there is where they burn that. I'm gonna look that up because basically it's where they check book. Oh,
There's
okay.
it refers to this in the.
Yeah, it's in Acts, and like, here it is. Yeah, Acts 19 verse 19. Here it is.
Okay.
Yeah. New International Version. A number who had practiced sorcery brought their scrolls together and burned them publicly. When they calculated the value of the scrolls, the total came to 50,000 drachmas. And a drachma is it's obviously like a coinage, but let me take a look at what that is. See, people have to like copy and like look this up. A drachma. Okay.
Yeah, they're in movies that they discuss some of the gods and stuff. They use drachma as money in movies. They do put it out there, like you said, in front of people. You know what I mean? And then they write it off as movie stuff.
Yeah. It says it's a silver coin of ancient Greece, dating from about mid 6th century BC, so mid 500s BC, and former monetary unit, Britannica. Okay. 1 drachma equals 6 oboli. What the hell is an oboli?
Another form of money.
Yeah,
from another country.
OBOLI, 100 drachmas equaled 1 MINE, and 60.
Uh-oh. You there?
From the Bible as well, because that's a form of money that they mention in the Bible as well. So, anyways,
it's amazing when you put all that together and see how money in the past and compare it to now. It's the same.
The talent was a unit of weight that was introduced in Mesopotamia at the end of the 4th millennium BC and was normalized at the end of the 3rd millennium during the Akkadian Sumer phase, divided into 60 minas, which was divided into 60 shekels. Okay, there you go.
Nothing has changed in our economic system except we use paper now, and the elites keep all the gold and silver. Besides that, we use fake money, but it still works the same. This equals that. This equals that. And they own it all. Fucking money, I hate it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. And then the Wikipedia talks about how the Phoenicians took it to the Greeks, and that's where we got the drachmas and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I wanted to say Greece, but I didn't want to be wrong. I remember it from certain, movies about, the gods and Perseus, and you know what I mean, where they're going through their adventure, and that's the money they're using, drachmas, So, or whatever, even some of the books you read, adventure books.
Yeah, like in most medieval settings, like copper, bronze. What was it? Is like I think copper is the most common. No, was it either bronze or copper is the most common, and then you go up to silver and then gold. So when it comes to coins, but whatever. I'm gonna keep on reading.
Go ahead.
So basically, yeah. So Cyril is mentioning that thing from Acts 19:19. So basically, 50,000 pieces of silver supposedly. So anyway, these lines from Cyril were written about 30 miles from where the Nag Hammadi codices were hidden. Whoever concealed the codices did so under the menacing shadow of Shenute, who quote dreamed of freeing the world from demonic powers by searching temples and private homes for idols to smash, end quote, and no doubt books to burn. He was quoting a person. Yeah. Okay, the violent and the quote violent and destructive behavior end quote of this Egyptian abbot was enforced by the people under his rule at the White Monastery, as many as 2,000 monks and 1,800 nuns. And the thing is, like you hear of Cyril, but maybe not everyone, but it's like I've never heard of this Shenote of Athribis. I've never heard of this dude before.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
No.
if my dad even knows about it. He might. I don't know, but
Yeah.
he knows of Cyril. But
Okay.
anyway,
Okay. Yeah, you see.
because Cyril's like it's a major like church father. So
Okay.
in general, anyway, okay. Let's see. So those who practiced the Cenobitic way of life also had a duty to exterminate the Gnostic tradition rooted in which one historian described Shenote's monks as the quote shock troops end quote of the new Christian, aware that their sacred legacy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for a sec, but
Oh yeah. Okay.
you just came back on when I was about to say lost you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, the diehard mystery adepts at Dandara across the river were certainly aware that their sacred legacy of teachings was going to be annihilated. At the same time, they would have known that the Star Temple where they took their last stand would endure. It would stand as proof of their ageless astronomical wisdom and their faith in Terma like transmission by use of the cosmic code, the zodiac. And basically, it's the Terma, Terma. It's wisdom treasures. It's a mind mandate transmission. The like wisdom that was not written down, but was like transmitted orally or
Mm-hmm.
like through like downloads, as they say in like the new age,
Right. Right.
like the
Right.
like the download from source,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Right.
and that's the end of that chapter. So, but there's more, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what makes those readings so fascinating. And like you said, too, so much of it was passed down orally on purpose. If people realized how, any of these things that you read and learn from, how interesting they are,
Mhm.
when you really, can kind of see that it's just about talking about the same predicament that humanity is in still today. And I just think it would be so enlightening for people. But
Mhm.
so many people are resistant to even learning something outside of their comfort zone or their religious belief or political belief.
Mhm.
It's again one of the things I'm glad for the researchers that have put this information out and made it interesting. Because
Yeah.
you know it's it's sometimes more difficult to just freshly pick up some of these readings and not understand them without that uh, at least the skeleton understanding of how the occult works and what these teachings mean and how they were you know used to control the people really with all of this same way today with the suppression of it and the attempt to extinguish it and it's all the same stuff and it's are we ever going to wake up out of this or are we going to keep going on into
My internet again.
uh, the thing hates us.
Well, whenever you cut out, I just automatically assume that
Right, yeah,
it's automatically doing that. So
right. That's exactly, because it's been given a lot of problems lately.
yeah.
Um,
Well, we've been talking about cool shit. That's why.
yeah, yeah,
And
right.
relevant stuff.
That's true.
Stuff the ancient psychologists don't like us talking about.
No, they don't.
So
They don't want you to understand any of this, or even think outside the box, or have an imagination about what we could be. That's why I thought Mark's show was so good last week. It's people kind of think this is you come here in order to die and to go to an afterlife when I kind of see it as you came here to liberate the species into its new life, and out of slavery and into, its true evolution, by rejecting all of this nonsense. And I think that's, makes
yeah.
more sense, as to why you would come here, you know?
Actually, there's another section that links very well into that it's again from the book.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and it's about consecration. So, okay. An initiation was a volunteer system that placed no restriction on the mundane activities of its participants, except that it demanded they demonstrate uncompromising honesty in all their endeavors in the world. Dishonesty, envy, and homicide without cause were the three factors that disqualified candidates from initiation. Indeed, the purpose of the initiates was to serve the world at large by nurturing and guiding human potential, one person at a time. They were called telestai, Telestai, because they were dedicated to a supreme goal, aim, purpose, a telos, Telos. This word implies that which is ultimate rather than perfection, as it is commonly rendered. It approaches the modern notion of goal orientation or teleology, Teleology. Can you hear me, Tom?
Yeah. Yep. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay, good. Okay. In colloquial usage, telos could refer to someone's death. He met his end, his telos. Death is the ultimate moment of life. By direct encounter with the organic light, initiates understood that their telos was a death transcending purpose. The Greek poet Pindar, about 518 to 438 BC, testified to the effect in initiation in these words: "Blessed is he who, having seen those common concerns in the underworld, knows both the end of life, telos, and its divine origin." The telestai also realized that whatever is learned in depth in a manner comparable with the unique potential of the student will outlive those who teach it. They understand that the learning potential of
Whoops. Ugh. There you
that
go. You're back.
yeah. Oh, okay. Where did I? Okay, I'm going to start again.
Okay.
Okay, the telestai also realized that whatever is learned in depth in a manner comparable to with the unique potential of the student will outlive those who teach it. They understood that the learning potential of the human species is deathless, but but it needs to be carefully guided. They believed not that we are divine sparks trapped in the darkness of the material world, but that each person carries the spark of the indigenous genius of humankind. There are several ways to understand the moral and educational orientation of the mysteries, for Telos has several dimensions. Education and guidance were intimately linked in the curriculum of the mystery schools. In the ultimate sense, initiates aimed to guide humanity to become self guiding. They taught what might be called self direction, but without a narcissistic spin or selfish emphasis. The aim of Telestic method was not what is today called self empowerment, but consecration. Self empowerment may be sought for one's own benefit or to acquire anything one wants, but consecration must be achieved by selfless commitment to something other than oneself. Literally, consecration means empowered with con. The E in this word has been substituted for an A, slightly obscuring the Indo European root SACR, cognate with the Sanskrit Shakti, a name of the goddess. In order to promote self direction with the intent of leading a consecrated life, SACR life, the Telestai introduced their student neophytes to a narrative framework, a guiding story. Within the story, each individual found his or her sacred calling and became self directed, a free agent. The essence of the Telestic program consisted in a deep understanding of what it means to be an instrument for co-evolution, consecrated to Gaia Sophia. Today, we tend to conceive of evolution in biological terms, and so we imagine that co-evolution is, or might be, a way for humanity to participate wisely and lovingly in the web of life encompassing all species, and even to align itself with the planetary spirit Gaia. This prospect epitomizes the telos of the mysteries. If we as members of the modern world make coevolution our personal aspiration, if we propose it as a social goal and hold it forth as the highest aspiration for our species, we might do well to bear in mind that this magnificent intention was already realized by people who came before us. It is realizable, we can assure ourselves, because it has been realized. It has been tried and tested with immense success. In a sense, all indigenous peoples around the world have realized this intention and lived according to this great transcendent prospect. But in a most specific way, in an artful and accomplished way, those who participated in the mysteries of the Great Mother in Europa, Egypt, and the Near East realized coevolution at a level of accomplishment that we can only hope to imagine. If the poet Octavio Paz, P-A-Z, is right, and the future is a perpetual resurgence of the past into the present, where the initiates is where we may go, into a future worth living. In their consecration to Gaia, they learned from direct communication with the planetary intelligence. Encountering the divine light, they found a story to guide the species and followed it. The loss of that story largely accounts for the moral and spiritual degradation of Western society, which now contaminates the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Mic drop.
Ain't that the truth?
So, yeah, and it's like, and this goes quick thoughts, Tom, if you had any. I didn't.
Oh no. I just it's this callback, like you say, into Mother Nature, into that I don't, I want to say I see that people will not only get in today's,
Teary again.
but right, but to realize this has been a quest for a long time, and that it is possible, and that this has been explained.
Mhm.
But so many people. I mean, of course, not just from the fear mongering, but from the aspect of this monopoly board that people run. Um, you just have to hope that people start to make this understanding before it's too late, before all of the things that occurred to rid this knowledge and to extinguish this, and to rewrite it and change it, doesn't happen again. Because that's what they're trying to do right now with any truth pertaining to this kind of information. Um, and here it's been thrust all over the world, and people take it, in only the little pieces they want that keep their world the same, and they can just, you know, uh, wither out the darkness and pretend. No, you have to take in all of it, and part of that is taking in the darkness and seeing through to the light, and understanding. In order to get there, you got to understand the world you live in. You got to understand what is going on, and you know realize that none of these people that have had power then and have power now want you to understand any of this. Um, you know, and
Yes.
that's what makes it so fascinating because, like you said, there's references in the Bible to these things. There's references in all kinds of different writings to these things where you can connect it all and see that this structure that's been made all around it to keep people externally looking places, whether the government or deity or whatever, it's all right here telling you what's within you. And I love how they turn that around and say, oh, do you think you're God? Well, we're all a part of that, of the creator. And it's understanding the laws that come with it and the understanding of, how to live in harmony with it that makes us good or bad, our choices, that has to be centered in truth. And, just looking around the world, you see history repeating all over again. So,
I can't. It was cutting you out again.
this last part I said was you look around and you see history repeating itself all over again. And you just hope that enough people will take in knowledge such as this and get that little aha moment going. But yeah, at least what did you think? I mean, you've been reading a
Well,
lot of it off, on your own too.
well, it's like I am not like I was studying the history of Christianity for years before this, so it's not it's not like new, even though I never heard of that guy before that.
Uh-oh. Hello. Oh,
Can
wow.
you hear
This
me?
thing. There you go. There
Uh,
you go. Now it's telling me. I think we.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, and that's
Can you hear me now?
interesting.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear me now.
Yeah. So I never heard of that SCHENOUTE of arthritis. I've never heard of that dude before, so I'll have to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know of Cyril, but it's there's always so much to learn, and it's cool. Like he also quotes that book that's Saharasya
Mm-hmm.
by James DeMeo, and that's a really good book people should read too.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read that one.
That's really good. You should pick that up.
Okay.
Pick it up, man.
Yes, I hear you. Well, these are the things we do instead of going coronavirus, TV, politics. These are the things people should be doing. Learning these things and then
Yeah,
changing their perspective on all of the noise out there. You know,
exactly.
because there's a lot of noise out there.
Oh, that's true. I also listen to my dulcet tones.
Yeah, well, like you said, how many people who have never heard that might hear a paragraph or what you just said that clicks with them and goes, "Wait a minute, I know where you never know what people are gonna like." For whatever reasons, people don't read things, but
Hmm.
they can't unhear things. If they happen to hear it, you never know what little seed that plants for a later. Where did I hear that before? And people look it up, and you never know what you start just by speaking. That's why, like you said, I think doing things like this are so important.
I
Um,
agree.
you know,
And just for clarification, if people want to know where I got that section on consecration, it's pages 155 to 157 from the paperback book. So
from the paperback.
yeah, paperback.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, having a physical copy, another good thing. They can't take that off the internet. It's in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but those are the times we live in. You know what I mean? This knowledge
Oh,
is
I agree.
is disappearing. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. I only probably got about 5 more minutes because I.
Actually, no, that's perfect because there's another quick section I want to read.
Okay, no, perfect. And then
Okay.
after that, I can get his homework stare off of his face. He keeps
Yeah,
popping in and giving me. He
That's
wants to get done.
that's okay.
So no, no, no.
Well,
I told him an hour. It's been less than an hour, so we're good.
yeah.
So go
Okay.
ahead, read that up.
Okay. Cool. So this is a few pages before that. It's page 148. Um, okay. Well. Okay, I'm going to actually start on page 146. I'm going to go between a couple things. Okay. Mystery adepts who were responsible for the cultivation of human potential to its optimal level took great care not to risk schizophrenic damage with their pupils and neophytes. They realized how easy it is to induce and exploit borderline states that can arise spontaneously in the process of initiation. The requisite lowering or total dissolution of the ego self produces high suggestibility in the subject. Neophytes in the mysteries were prime subjects for imprinting, the process in which a predetermined psychic content or program is implanted in the subconscious mind. Imprinting naturally occurs universally, in nature as the means by which instinctual programs are transferred from one generation to another. Like with different ducks, and I'll just keep on going.
No,
Actually,
go ahead.
okay. Ethologist Conrad Lorenz, KONRAD LORENTZ, 1903 to 1989, famously imprinted newborn ducks, convincing them that he was their mother. Lorenz coined the term inner release mechanism, IRM, whereby organisms are genetically predisposed to respond to certain stimuli. Gnostic initiates would have encountered the insights stated in his book On Aggression, 1966, through their intimate firsthand observation of psychomimetic activities. Psychomimetic activities, formulated today in the science of neuro-linguistic programming,
Mm-hmm.
NLP. That comes up a lot with the whole mind control stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So people should study that.
Yeah. On
Okay.
both aspects, the mind control and the Dr. Joe Dispenza, the reprogramming of it yourself, you know?
Hmm. Okay, and okay. I'm gonna keep on going because this whole section is okay. But okay, in short, the psyche can be trained to imitate behavior modeled for it ritualistically or repeat assigned behavior when exposed to a specific signal post hypnotic suggestion. Such manipulations of the psyche depend on the primary condition for initiation: temporary dissolution of the filter of self consciousness. Okay. Behavioral manipulation, psychological programming, and mind control were utterly repugnant to the genuine telestai of the ancient mysteries. Such procedures represented to them a path leading away from consecration to Sophia and the great work of co evolving with nature, toward social engineering and personal power games. The goal of the telestai was to foster a sane and balanced society by helping individuals reach their peak potential and never to interfere directly in social management. And he goes on to talk about how, like, basically there was a split in the magi, in the mages, in the learned ones.
Mm-hmm.
And on page 148, he talks about how basically the mages that basically are like the Illuminati, the false Illuminati, to put it very simply.
Yeah.
They basically became the social engineers of like the ancient like city states, in Mesopotamia. That's basically what he talks about. Okay, so and on page 148, he talks about this. Okay, kingship rituals of this sort, of the mind control of the mind control kingship rituals, exercised on the general populace through the collective symbology and mystique of royal authority, were distinct from the rites of initiation that led to instruction by the light and consecration to the great goddess. Their purpose was not education and enlightenment, but social management. Gnostics refrained from assuming any role in politics because their intention was not to change society, but to produce skilled, well balanced, enlightened individuals who could create a society good enough that it did not need to be run by external management. The intention of the dissident Magians to run society by covert controls was based on their assumption that human beings are not innately good enough or gifted enough to create a humane world. This difference in views of human potential was the main a book called A Plato Prehistorian by a Mary Settegast. And she talks about how the word Gnostic itself has been misused. Um, like, okay, like first, so from its introduction into the Western intellectual tradition. After I'm done with this paragraph, I'll stop.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, because okay.
I mean, I gotta go soon, but
Okay.
no, this. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm on page 149. Okay, from its introduction into the Western intellectual tradition, Gnostikos, Gnostikos, has been wrongly associated with the deviant Magian faction. So basically, wrongly associated with the ancient psychologists / social engineers
Mm-hmm.
that have been with us for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, times even more thousands of years.
Exactly.
Gnostico, okay, with that deviant Magian faction. But early on, the name came to be disowned by the Telestai, who did not engage in statecraft and social management, using the noble lie rationale. In fact, Gnostikoi, like Hypatia, would never have used that term to describe themselves. 6 centuries after Plato, it came into use as an insult. The church fathers ridiculed the teachers in the mysteries with the term Gnostikos, intended to mean smartass, know-it-all. Among themselves, pagan initiates used the term telestes, Telestes. Paradoxically, Gnostic comes down to us tainted by the condemnation of the Roman Church and associated with the very members of the Magian order who were disowned by the guardians of the mysteries.
And the word itself simply means
Mhm.
knowledge. It's simply what the word gnosis means. After all that, like you said, you see, in the same way they destroyed the word anarchy, and made people think it means without rules instead of without rulers. This is what they do.
Mhm.
Everything is in language and the perception of words and concepts that are all twisted. This entirety is an inversion of what it really is. Um,
Mhm.
I mean that was a great part to read from.
Can I have two? I
Because
have two more paragraphs. Can I finish this chapter? Please, I'll do it real quick. Okay.
go ahead.
The Illuminati program was and still is essential to patriarchy and its cover perpetrator religion. While it cannot be is while it cannot exactly be said that the deviant adepts created patriarchy, they certainly controlled it and still do. The abuse of initiatory knowledge to induce schizophrenic states, entrainment, manipulate multiple personalities in the same person, platforming, and command behavior through post hypnotic suggestion, the Manchurian candidate technique continues to this day with truly evil consequences for the entire world. If we accept that the mysteries were schools for Gaian coevolution dedicated to the goddess Sophia, they could not have been run by Illuminati like control freaks, as some contemporary writers bent on exposing the Illuminati have supposed. In the mystery schools, Gnostics teachers, who were deeply concerned about the split in the Magian order, were intent to counterbalance and correct the machinations of the deviant adepts. Initiation involved melting the ego boundaries in preparation for deep rapport with nature, not lowering of ego consciousness so that the subject could be behaviorally programmed using the power of suggestion, trauma, imprinting, and other psychodramatic methods. These behavioral modification tools were strictly forbidden in the mysteries overseen by Gnostics. Mic drop.
Exactly. It's
Ah,
like you said. I don't know what else people. Why all these other details matter when you can see exactly. Oh, this is the same thing. And like you said, these Manchurian candidates, quote unquote. Now we have made technology where they don't even barely have to, you know, do all of these techniques like they did before with trauma. I mean, they've
mhm.
mapped the brain to the point now where it's a push of a button, and people still have faith in the system. Oh, the good guy will come in. We'll vote him in.
but well, exactly, but at the same time, like, let's also focus on the good stuff too,
Oh
because
yeah.
you are completely correct, because there are people who will always believe in, like, in have the external locus of control.
Boy, you've been cutting out a million times. It happened again. Are you there? Uh-oh, that was a
Be in
long one. Oh,
relationship.
there you are.
Huh?
You cut out again.
Ah,
That was a long
okay.
one. I didn't think you were coming back. That was a long one.
Okay, so basically, gosh, I forgot to say.
You were
Stupid
saying
fucking.
focus on the good and try to pull out of. No, you were good. Go ahead. Oh no, you cut out again. You cut out again. Whatever you're about to say is important. So
did you
say
hear me? Did you? Okay.
it.
So basically, you are correct that that people will have an external locus of control whereby they will want people to solve their shit.
Hmm. Wow, you cut out again.
We have to balance, like, the knowledge of, like, that there's politics and all that bullshit with, like, with Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, and Greg Braden, and among other people,
Yeah,
what they do
yeah.
with the epi.
No, you cut out again. Right, you there?
Um,
Right when you were about to say epigenetics, it cut out on you. It is
is that
picking and
epi
choosing.
eugenics?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
epi eugenics?
eugenics. There you go. Exactly.
It's, okay, it's epi eugenics.
Uh huh.
EPIEUGE
Yeah.
and
And that is,
epi eugenics.
but like you said, epigenetics exists, and these are the things that people can grasp this concept themselves. Um, you know, then epidysgenics or epieugenics can't work as well. The social engineering aspect of breeding down the less desired and breeding up the more desired can't work.
Yeah,
if people learn it.
exactly. And they don't want, and what they desire is stuff that would go against their social engineering,
Hmm.
deviant adept ways,
Yeah.
the technocrats.
Hmm.
They're technocrats back in, handling all the city states back in Sumer, and they're doing the same thing now. So it's not like this is, but anyways, so
No,
people,
you're
but there's
right.
like, there's a ton of videos that people can download and listen in the car while they're waiting in inane traffic. Trust
Yep.
me, you can do that.
That's what I do a lot, because
Good,
it's,
good.
well, because what are you going to listen to? I mean, how much time when you're sitting there in traffic, like you said, you listen to the same fucking song over and over and over again on goddamn radio. I mean, you could just plug,
Exactly.
like everything is awesome, like the fucking Lego movie, like, you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, yes.
Like
I
plug
know that
in.
song.
Yeah, I know. I do too. I was stuck in my head for a long time. I was making a joke about it, and then I couldn't get it out of my head. I'm like, oh no, you know what I mean?
We become like the Enzyme Man, have our
But
with
these are
our,
the
with our
people that complain, oh, this presentation's so long, that video's so long. Plug it in, get an aux cord, plug it in, and just listen when you're fucking driving, it really, it's time well spent instead of sitting in the car in traffic. Your mind also isn't on so much of the traffic and, oh, this guy sucks. And you're kind of just into what you're listening to, and all of a sudden, you know, you're home. Sometimes you'll find yourself sitting in the driveway still so you can finish it.
I take it that's happened with you.
Absolutely, yeah. Because when I found Mark and got through enough presentations where I wanted to listen to the podcast, I mean, that's hours and hours and hours. So that's what I
Yeah.
did. I listened while I was driving, and there are things like you said. Yeah, you want to finish up and listen. I of course, there's like probably 20 or 30 that I didn't listen to in the middle, in the hundreds somewhere, because I jumped to the cosmic abandonment portion. So I still have a few that I need to go back and listen to.
Oh my gosh.
I know I'm a bad boy. I know.
That's okay.
But
I'll let your wife handle that.
yeah, right. But there's so much information, and people say they don't have time. There's time. You just got to get creative about it.
There's ways to download YouTube videos and them as like MP3s.
Yeah.
As well.
Yep.
So people can figure that out. I don't need to like name drop, but you can,
Yeah.
Firefox has extensions, so to speak. I mean, there's different ways to do it.
Yep.
There's even ways to do it on Android. I don't know about iPhone as much. But.
Yeah, I have an Android too, so I don't know iPhone, and I can't stand the iPhone to tell you the truth. So I wouldn't ever work to figure it out because I can't figure that damn thing out. My kids have one, and I can't stand it.
I have an iPad, and it's hard to like download it and like download videos.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's a lot easier to do it on Android.
Yeah.
But anyways, people could do their own research.
Yay! Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, well, Lisa, thank you. For I know it was a crazy night, but we got something in that was good. You know what I mean? That was a good hour, I think. So, great information. And always great to talk with you, So next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Oh no, are you there? Are you gone?
Yeah, internet connection is unstable. But
they don't like that Nagamorty. They don't like any of the, Gnostic information, the Nagamorty texts. They don't like any of that stuff. Yeah. They seem to really cut into us because they did that last time when you were reading. Cut in a lot. So.
I think I'm going to read more of that bad boy.
Yeah,
and also people should read the book by Anna Vanoort, Van Ort. It's called Wayang, Wayang, and it's basically a shadow show. She's Gold Heart Shell on Twitter, and she talks about like she's been through a lot with mind control and other stuff, and she brings up a lot of good information, and she connects a lot of dots. Everyone, it's on Kindle and regular paperback. So
what was the name of it again, Lisa?
It's called Wayang.
Okay, Wayang. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she talks about a lot about the psychology and like a lot about what we're talking about here, and but she makes a lot of different connections that people need to read.
Nice.
Oh, get it.
Absolutely.
Please get it.
Absolutely.
Get it. Okay.
Thank you, Lisa. It's always good talking to you. I'll see you next week. I mean, I'm sure I'll talk to you before that. But thanks, Lisa. Have a great night, Lisa. And tell Sarah I said hello when you talk to her.
I will.
And we'll see her next week. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.